Good evening, everyone, and welcome to GrayManPrepping. It's time for that wonderful day of the week called Tactical Tuesday, where we're going to talk about tactics, gear, and more. And tonight's topic is going to cover all three a little bit because it's about, will your garden survive a SHT event? And how's everybody doing out there? All right, I see more people making comments as fast as they can. All right, so let me jump over here and welcome everybody in. Alicia, Autism Mom's here from north of the border. Shady Hill Homestead. Moon Over Miami's here. Kaylin Strain is here. Mother Earth Garden Club. Utah Mike. Diana 2. Howie, Food Forest Permaculture. Howie, stick around because I may bring you up here shortly. And, Chef Tech is here. And Lewis, it's the Marshmallow Man's here. And Sue Me is here. Whoa, Sue Me just had a tea storm. All righty. And as Kaylin's saying, got up to 92 today, 99 yesterday. Supposed to stay in the 80s for a while and dipped into the 70s. Yeah. We're supposed to get that here too a little bit too, so we'll see what happens here. All right, so let me get into my PowerPoint here, and then I'll drop the link. So those that want to come up here can come up here. All right, here we go. There we go. All right, so will your garden survive a SHTF event? Well, one of the things probably need to define is, what is SHTF exactly? Now, there's a lot of things going around. People saying, oh, we just had an SHT event here. We had a personal SHT event. Well, I'm going to bring up definitions here again. And, Tammy Harder's here and Shawnee's in the house. So, let's see here. So there are basically four types of emergency classifications, and these were set up back more than 50 years ago. Guys involved in this were Jerry Ahern, Brent Smythe, David Harper, and a few others. So down in Southern California. All right, so simple emergencies, life-changing events, SHTF, and TWACI. And so I'm going to do a little switch up here and see if I can bring it up here. It's going to be interesting if I can pull this off right. Okay, there we go. So simple emergencies can take anywhere from a day to a couple months to recover. And these involve things like armed robbery, births, broken bones, car accidents, death in the family. So death in the family can be bordered to the life-altering event as well. Fires, floods, fuel shortages, a bunch of stuff here that does not really impact you to the degree of your house burning down, home being destroyed, stuff like that. The next one here is life-altering events can take up to a year or maybe a little bit more to recover from. Maybe like a hurricane, tornado, home or business destroyed. A severe winter storm that isolates you for months where you can't get anybody, and it gives you a lightning bolt. Say, I got to change the way things are doing. This is going to change my life here. I got to change things around. An active shooter event where you get injured. Infectious disease. A real pandemic. Volcano stuff. Multiple state, multiple year droughts, Dust Bowl type scenario type thing where it changes everybody's life. In the first two, government does not fail. For the next two, government fails. So that's one of the part of definitions here. And so exist some examples. You know, you have like a numerous tornadoes come in, wiping out large swaths of stuff, taking out state capital, taking out multiple states type things. Terrorist attack on the power grid. Grid is down for more than 2 weeks, most likely more than months, a couple months, and it's going to be down. And back when we first came up with this, we thought 2 weeks would be devastating. And of course, now more people are getting generators, more people are getting solar panels. So, the government's doing the same thing. So it's going to take, grid being down for longer than 2 weeks now. EMP destroying 20 to 40% of the transformers. Yes, it's going to take a couple of years to get those transformers repaired or replaced because we don't make them in the United States anymore. Moon moves into a closer orbit. You get tides affecting, earthquakes happening. Basically, you're going to lose our infrastructure again. Richter scale, Manu-Madrid type quake, 10, 11, whatever, a whole bunch of aftershocks and stuff. A super volcano near full eruption, taking out, covering half or more of the country with ash, where everything collapses. Right? This, where it's going to take several years to recover from. Now you step it up a bit into Tawaki, the end of the world as we know it. Basic recovery for this is going to be 10 to 20 years, or most likely more than that. And so it's, anything from a grid down event where 50 to 60% of transformers are destroyed. Oil wells all dry up, so there's no oil production. And then like the infectious diseases, pandemics, each one has a different number. And the higher the number, the worse things happen and stuff is with that. A mini ice age drops on us again. 9 months of winter, 3 days of growing season, and snow all over the place. Yeah, everything's going to start failing. The desert effect, no winter at all. Temperatures of 110 plus temperatures, 310 days out of the year. So you just got a couple days where it drops below 110. Numerous earthquakes across every part of North America. Worldwide EMP, a planetoid, not a comet or asteroid, a planetoid passes within a quarter or less of the distance from the Earth to the Moon. So it's really coming close, and it's really going to cause massive destruction. All right, so those are kind of the things that we talked about back 50 some odd years ago. And so those are the classifications there. So we're just going to keep it a little bit simple. We're just going to stick to SHTF. Remember, government's out of it for a while. Now, government may only fail for like 6 months, and government starts coming back up. Of course, local city governments will probably come up quicker. So that's just the gist of the way things were set up for this. So let's get into the next thing. Oh, little known preppers in the house. Hello. Let's see who else came in here that I missed here. Come on, let's work here. Okay, all righty. So, who needs to have a garden? Everyone needs to have a garden. I mean, really, everyone, if they can have a garden, needs to have a garden. Even Kaylin has a little garden on her balcony. All right, she's developing the skills so that if she has to, she can put in a bigger garden outside, working with her neighbors. Possibly say, all right, we need to grow food here, people, and she can lead those in her apartment to set up a garden and grow stuff. I like Kaylin's answer better though. Anyone with a working brain needs a garden. Well, that leaves those in Congress out. All right. Happy Mac, welcome in. CP is in the house. All right. Let's see here. Next thing here. Especially right now, homesteaders. If you're a homesteader, you better have a garden. I've been following several non-homesteaders, some cattle ranchers, and even they have their own garden on their property. What else we got here? Preppers / survivalists. Yeah, and this is probably going to tick off a few people out there that are just lurking, saying, well, I'm a prepper. I don't need to have a garden. Yes, you do. Now, those channels and people out there saying, you don't need to plant a garden. You just need to have seeds. So when SHTF hits, you go out and you plant your garden. No. And here's something. Let me switch this around for a second. Here's my thought on this. And I've talked to a couple preppers who say you don't need to have a garden to kind of get their eyes open up on this one. Do you have pew-pews, freedom sticks? Well, yeah, of course I do. Do you go practice on it and learn and develop skills on it? Of course, I go out to the range once a month or twice a month. All right. Do you lose your skill really quick? Well, no, not really. You know everything about shooting? Oh, no, pretty much about it. I'm just refining my skills and keeping my skills up. What do you know about gardening? Well, you put seeds in the ground. What happens if there's a blight? Or what happens if for some reason it's the year that everything's too wet and your seeds rot before they can grow? Or there's no rain and your seeds can't grow? What then? Or you get infested by bugs, you get this, and do you have the skills to make your garden work? Usually they go, oh, what? You mean you can't just toss seeds out there and grow food? No. Exactly, Tammy. Food good, starvation bad. And the thing is, learning these skills to garden takes years. And to develop your garden itself to be able to grow anything, as Howie can tell you, takes years as well to build yourself a food forest. All right, let's switch over back here again and bring up the final one here. All right, self-reliant families. Those that don't claim they're preppers, that just want to be self-reliant and not so incumbent on the food chain so much. Those are in there as well. And Mother Earth Garden Club says, I'm a suburbanite with a garden. All righty. So let me go ahead and drop that in there. And do I have another slide after that? Okay. What do you need for your garden? What do you think is the number one thing you're going to need for your garden? I'm going to wait till I get some answers here. So what is the number one thing that you think you're going to need for your garden? And was it Kaylin said, heck, Howie's still learning. Howie says, yes. Anyone that says they're not learning anything has it. Okay. All right, here's Mark. All right, Diane, if you get water, dirt's everywhere, soil's different, soil, that plants, everyone's finding up stuff, but water, you can have good soil, you can have plants. If you don't have water, you're not going to grow anything. So that's one of the things I like. There's water. There's to check out water. Yes, Kaylin, I know that's you grow as much as you can. You grow more than you need. You preserve what you can, and you either give away to make friends or sell the other stuff to help get funds to keep it going. All right. Next thing I got on here, next thing you need to worry about for a garden. How do I want to put this? Protection. This is multiple things. And here comes Lewis. Hey, Lewis.
Hey.
What's up, Lewis?
Hey, Mark.
The protection I'm talking about for your garden, there's multiple things. One, protecting it from pests. whether it's squirrels, raccoons, rabbits, the neighborhood dog try and come in there and dig stuff up, the neighborhood cat pooping in your nice soil. You need to protect your garden. Also includes birds coming in and eating your the cherries off your trees, the apricots and stuff, the fruit off the trees, coming down and eating the strawberries and stuff like that. Yep. Mean Green Lab. Yes. Deer.
What's up, Jimmy? That's my buddy.
Yeah. Cool. And so that's the one side of protection. Now we're going to talk about the other side of protection. The two-legged polecats that'll try to take out your garden or harvest it for you. Yeah. Yes, the squirrels, and if you're in even a suburban area like this, there are rats around here in California. I'm not talking about political rats. That's demon rats, but I'm talking about Norwegian wharf rats and the common rat and stuff like that, which people have trash piles in their backyard or whatever. The rats make homes there, and they go for whoever's growing food. Pesky family members or neighbors that refuse to prep. Exactly. So, protection takes quite a bit of things setting up. And this is something you don't want to try to do. Oh, crap. I need to get netting to protect my trees that I just put in. Or that I've never worried about harvesting food from, and I need to protect it, keep the birds away from it. Oh, crap. I can't go buy netting because we're in SHTF. Stores are closed. So these, you need to set up. How are you going to get water for your plant, for your garden stuff when the city water shuts off, when the power goes out, when you got to haul the water yourself? Or if you're lucky like Howie, you have taken the 15, 20 years or so and have several food forest plots set up that you don't need to water. All right, and protecting the garden, protecting your interests. Now, protection, I'm going to deviate here for a second, folks. Protecting the garden also goes for protecting any livestock you're raising as well. But that's another story, another topic for later. But I'm just touching on it here. Don't forget to think about that too as you're planning things out. Oh yes. Some areas will need shade cloth. If you don't have, if your fruit trees and stuff haven't grown up big enough to provide the shade. My mother, my brother and I built a bunch of raised planter beds for her back in the late 70s, early 80s. And there was my brother planted a fruitless mulberry for her. And the only place she could grow lettuce was under the mulberry tree because it would get morning sun. The mulberry tree protected in the afternoon, and then it would get a little bit of evening sun. So in the shade, the lettuce was able to grow good. Idaho Garden Girls in the house. Hey, Steph. Yeah, and that's another type of protection too, to extend your growing season. And you're an area that gets frosts and freezes. You're going to need to have the covers, the protectants, the frost blankets, whatever sheets, whatever it is to keep the plants protected, so you can start growing them earlier and keep them growing later as well. What's next here? Invisibility. Kind of goes a little bit with the protection, talking about the two-legged polecats. Keep people from seeing your garden. Now here, in California. There are how many houses now? I lost count on just on the street here for the 4 blocks here that I've seen. I think there's 6 houses now that are growing a garden in their front yard as well as the backyard. And oh no, Idaho Garden Girl, iPhone crash. No calls, no calendar, no contacts, no chat. Ouch. So here, the stuff in the front yard is going to be visible, and there will be people come and try to steal from it. The stuff in the back, not quite so visible. There are some nice chain link gates with slats in it, and on the one side for the one side, and the other one's got a 6-foot tall redwood fence that is ready to have spikes put on top of it very easily. That totally blocks off the other side, and so there. A lot of the stuff is kind of invisible. Some of the plants in the front yard don't look like food. They look just like flowers and stuff. And plus, my wife has a lot of flowers out there too. So, hey, Savage Lee.
And so thorny bushes like roses and all kinds of thorny bushes as a barrier.
She's got roses on both sides of the front area next to both driveways.
Yeah, don't cut them short.
No, they stay tall. And in the front, she's planted some more hedges. And a couple of them are really nasty, prickly ones, which she didn't realize were going to be that prickly. But so when she cusses herself out when she's out there having to clean around it because they still they're not pyracantha, but they do deter some people. Is there anything after that? I don't think there's anything after that. Is there? No. All right. So
Poison ivy works great to find the people that got your stuff in about a day.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, that's those are some of the ideas I have, and so I'm open for a lot more ideas from you guys out there and up here. Howie, if you want to come up, I'll drop the link again. It did it twice. There we go. Got a little delay. I pasted it, didn't paste. I did it again. Also, they both popped up. All right. So, will your garden survive an event that is going to bring down the grid or bring down, well, actually just about most events will eventually bring down the grid one way or another, but also bring down most of government. So, but if it's weather, some events are going to be weather related specifically. like if it's the several years without a summer. I mean, basically you got 9-10 months of freezing temperatures all across the United States, including Florida, and what do you have stuff to grow? Do you have seeds for stuff to try to grow? Are you going to be able to grow stuff indoors? Are you going to have to? I hate saying this. You guys don't know how bad I hate saying this. Are you going to have to pack up all your seeds and everything else up for no matter what the event is and get out of Dodge, or you have enough food already where you can hunker down and wait for the die-off? Hang on, I need a cough drop here. Come on, open up package. There we go. All right. Savage Lee. Yeah. All right, so it could be the harsh couple of weeks, couple of years of winter, or a couple harsh, scorching sun where no winter at all. Actually, no fall. You get maybe a month and a half of spring, if at all. Are you going to be able to grow enough food for you? Is your garden going to? Thank you, Mean Green Lab. Or are you going to be able to grow food and stuff for what the nature is doing temperature-wise? Then, of course, there is the other things that those that aren't growing a garden, that are following the bad advice from these prepping channels that say just stock up seeds, you don't practice growing now. Pests, the lantern flies, squash bugs, diseases, peach leaf curl. Rebel Canners, power us out. I will watch in reruns. Okay, Tammy, take care. So if you're not practicing gardening now and learning gardening, you're not going to know how to deal with these pests when they show up. And some of the pests can be weeds, like star thistle, morning glory. Now, both those I figured out. I have found a nice organic way to do it, but to make it last, I'm going to have to stock up on the 45% vinegar in the gallon jugs, enough of it so I do spot spraying right now on when the morning glory tries to come in, and the star thistle kills both those things really quick where I'm at. But then also you got stuff like slugs, snails, other type insects. Do you have the knowledge, the skills, or the resources to find out what you need to do for a lot of these bugs and stuff? They've changed their channel name a couple times. It was Big C Homestead or something like that. Years ago, about 5 years ago, maybe 6, they posted a video on dealing with squash bugs with a not so nasty pesticide you can buy. It was almost organic, but it was like for spot spraying, and you find that when the squash bugs the moth comes in, it lays its eggs on the bottom of the leaves. You can spray the stuff on the leaves, and it kills it, stops the squash bug from developing. Some can be picked off by hand. Tomato hornworm feed to the chickens. Well, if you got tomatoes, the best thing we found that works, you plant basil, and most importantly, you plant borage near them, and the moth won't even come around, so it won't lay the eggs in the soil at the base of the tomatoes, so you won't get the tomato hornworms. Neem oil's one. The fixed copper spray for getting rid of the fungus peach leaf curl. And to know about which type of nematodes are good and which type of nematodes are bad. I combat squash bugs using a tiny battery-operated vacuum cleaner. Excellent. And if it's battery operated, you can get a little small solar panel to charge it up.
I think one of the biggest things, the longer each, you know how you got the thing listed
Mm-hmm.
there for how long it could be, the whatever it's happened, right?
Yeah.
More for like longer, depending on what it is, but more for longer term is finding out your what you can put for supplements in your garden, right? Like
Yeah.
eggshells for calcium, um, coffee grinds, grass,
Yeah.
leaves, ashes, stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Chicken bones for phosphorus, right? And you got the biggest thing is knowing how to rapidly decomposition it. Um, like the chicken bones, right?
Mm-hmm.
After my bone broth, I put the bones in the oven at about 280 until you can break them, and I stick them in the blender, like your regular household blender,
Yeah.
and blend them up. And in the spring, about 2 weeks or so, give or take, I put it in there and rototiller like that, and eggshells, and same thing with banana peels. If you bake them at 280 until they're black, and because banana peels are for potassium, right?
Mm-hmm.
Until they're black and crispy, and put them in the blender and blend them up. This all will take about 2 weeks for
Yeah.
some of those supplements, Epsom salts, right?
And that's one of the things too is some of the stuff you're going to need to stockpile like the Epsom salts. You can like it's Sam's Club. They got the box that has 2 big bags in it. When you can afford it, you stock up on a couple boxes worth. It doesn't go bad. It's vacuum sealed in their bags and stuff. It's like so it's protected that way. And there's other things you can get too to help out along that way as well. Um, One of the things like Howie's does with his food forest, he's been working on some of the areas of the food forest like 20 years, building it up. And once you get stuff going on like that, it's amazing. I just saw a video, guys. You're gonna love this today. Talking about the 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 inhabitants of North and South America here prior to Columbus. A lot of their gardening and stuff and stuff was food forest. The quote Native Americans or Indians, if you want to call them, were knew about nature, where stuff grows good. Oh, let's copy making this soil here as well, like it does over there where everything grows good. And so that helps out too. And so you set that, this was a thing, talk about how they were doing it. And when the Europeans showed up, oh, look at this wilderness. And they would, no, this is our garden. This is where we grow food. No, this is a wilderness. The Europeans didn't understand the concept of a food forest.
No, I just like to clear the land flat, till it up, and plant wheat and corn.
Sumi says get some of those soil test kits to have on hand. Yes, so you can see what your soil's doing. So you can realize, oh, okay, we need to add more of this to it. We need to plant more of this type of crop to get the nitrogen back in, or we need to get this type of crop to get the calcium in, stuff like that.
Yeah, and talking about nitrogen again, rain catchment systems, because water and snow, believe it or not, lots of nitrogen.
Yeah. Tammy has a question here. How do you use Epsom salt in the garden? I have a couple of videos on both my channels, mainly over on Camp Patton. I do a mixture, or I mix Epsom salts, a little bit of fertilizer, and some calcium in it to use on tomatoes. I use Epsom salts and just Epsom salt itself, a little bit dissolved in a little spray bottle to help to help with the germination of seeds. But there are plenty of videos out there. White Family Farm, Stringfield Ridge Farm. There's a bunch of them, that have videos on Epsom salt, and there's probably a bunch more that I haven't seen here on YouTube. And so if you on the YouTube the homepage step in the search bar, you put in Epsom salts or Epsom salts for the garden, and you'll get a lot of videos.
What I normally do, because I do it with coffee grinds, eggshells, banana peels, chicken bones, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'll save from when I do my in the spring when I add it all. I'll just put Epsom salts in there. What I think. If I got a 5-gallon pail, I might be putting 2 kilos of Epsom salts in there.
Yeah.
And I'll just sprinkle it all over the garden, just like I would with all the other stuff that in that 5-gallon pail, right? Just sprinkle it all over the garden. Because like I said, 2 weeks, right? Roughly speaking. And by the time that it'll rain and start soaking, that's why I rotor to try to get up a little bit of dirt and stuff, because I put compost and stuff in there too, right?
Yeah.
Just a rototiller to help break it down a couple of times, and then I go plant.
Yeah.
Because then at that point, I'm digging up my rows for the dirt to put the seeds in, and I just kind of bury them up.
Yeah. Now, in an SHTF situation, you may not be able to get the gas for your rototiller, so maybe you having to use we call them potato forks. And my mom did. We got the 4 thick, fat tines that so you can break it in the soil, just turn it a little bit. There'll be a lot of that. So if you don't have one of those 1, 2, or 3 of those tools on hand, you may want to think about getting them, because there's a lot you can do with them. Also, you can use them for harvesting food as well, for underground crops.
Yeah, I use that fork thing for my potatoes.
Yeah, and you can also use them for like the sunchokes, aka Jerusalem artichokes, that are tubers. Any type of tubers, we're bringing those up. Gunslinger Outdoors in the house. Woohoo! And of course, Shenanigans came in and popped up the Shenanigans was saying hi to everybody. One of the things, I want to point out again here now is, learn everything you can now. And yes, I got a tractor. Mark has a tractor. Lewis has a rototiller. But there are times where you need to step away from using those and get back to the manual labor with the potato fork, with the walk behind wheeled cultivator you push, and it does that stuff. The stirrup hose, the regular hose. You have to work the soil.
When I had
the little claw, the 3-thing claw either with a short handle or the long handle for working it as well.
Yeah, I posted a couple of videos of my trees coming down, me busting up the stumps with a stump buster, and my whole one garden, I used the stump buster to get a deeper dig into the soil, right? Mm-hmm. Added wood into it, and so I got on the whole garden, busted up all the dirt and got down about a foot or so down into the dirt. And then I used my little rototiller after that to kind of finally mix up everything nicely for me to plant seeds.
Little Lone Prepper, I've also seen several videos by different people talking about something similar. Here comes Howie, about using for baking soda, adding it to water and spraying it on the plants. And I also saw one for talking about certain plants. You take dilute some vinegar on there And so you're not, like your normal 5% vinegar, you do like half a cup to a gallon of water, really dilute it, and lightly spray it, and it'll help the leaves and the plants as well that way too. How you doing, Howie?
Well, I picked goji berries today, and I planted more cool weather crops. I've made another piece in the food forest there. I disturbed the soil a bit, threw down about a dozen different kind of cool weather crop. So that's my third spot that I've done now. So I'll always have something following the next crop for this like fall and winter.
And Howie being here just reminded me of something. Get your biochar made up while you can and get it into the garden. Of course, once we are in SHTF and you're having to use a wood fire to cook with, you'll have more biochar.
There's so many uses for biochar. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It really is. Like the large piece of biochar, that's a microbe condo, hey? And then nutrient wise, when you load it up with the wood ash, you load that biochar, I'll tell you, it's part of the Mayan technique. They would bury their kitchen waste and put biochar and wood ash there, and that's all they ever did. And,
Yeah. Let's see. What other things can you do to make sure your garden survives any SHTF event? Or Twaki, it's going to be long term.
Storage. Store your seed.
Yeah.
Your underground food won't be found and ripped off as easily as your, if it's underground food. Like you take away your sunchokes or your potato where you grew it, you take that away, throw some leaves around there. You don't know there's potatoes there, but you do, but someone else doesn't. So that may be, I know it sounds finite, but it may be something that you could practice, hey?
Yeah, and even like radishes and stuff, most people don't know.
21 days, boom.
But they don't know what the tops of radishes look like.
Oh.
Most people don't. I mean, you go to the store, they may have some bundled up, then they see greenery on top, but they don't recognize what that greenery is in a garden. And same thing with, so you got your radishes, you got your turnips, you got your Jerusalem artichokes, you got carrots. Carrots, more people might recognize, but still, if it's out there, they're in a bunch of stuff growing, they may not recognize what it is. There's a bunch of things you can grow underground to supplement your whole diet, and you don't have to grow some of these things. You can change up what you're growing in each area, seasonally.
Well, I just finished clearing off the peas and fava beans that grew on this part of the food forest floor. So I cleared that off with like a spade like hoe. Mm-hmm. And then I threw some soil around there. I raked it in, and then I put in my garlic, like the bulb itself, and then there's the garlic flower with all of the little seedlings. There's just there's 100 on there. So I had about 15 of those. So I spread those in a 2-foot area with the entire strip of the food forest on the far right side of the food forest. So that, and then I put in turnip today and chard, carrot, spinach, and lots more radish because they're nitrogen fixer. Again, I'm always throwing nitrogen fixers at the soil because it's a lot of rain here, so nitrogen washes away quite easily. Yeah.
If you plant your gardens in rows, perfect little rows and everything, people will recognize that. But if you do like Howie does and just scatter stuff everywhere, it's like people walk around and step right on half his carrots and not even know it. You'd think it's a weed because you're in the woods.
The Rocky Hill Food Forest just got attacked by stupid people. The guy phoned me yesterday. He came home from work. He works for the big government job. Anyway, he come home and he phones me and he's screaming at these people with weed whackers that the neighbors had sent down the hillside and weed whacked. They cut down the strawberry birthday figs and they cut down the raspberry bushes. And you should hear him screaming, man. He was just freaking right out. And I
advised, his property?
Yeah, well, his neighbor hired some people to weed whack the hillside. Well, they came right down past his greenhouse that we built about a few years ago. We collected all this glass. Anyway, he phones me up and he's freaking out. Like literally, he's like, because he really tries hard to grow food. And like the food forest, what you want to do with a food forest is that how much can look after itself without you doing anything. Mm-hmm. And then there's where you have to do something, like right now I'm doing the cool weather crops because it's cool weather crop season. And that goes right into winter here in British Columbia. But it snowed in the Kootenays today, hey? Yeah, on the the Okanagan connector, I think, as well. Like that's pretty early. It's not even September yet.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's so cold here. It's incredible at night. It's near record lows. Yeah.
All right, we got some good comments on the side. Little Lone Preppers say, here, I'll put it up. There's the topic. The comment. Salicylic aspirin is similar to the salicylic aspirin hormone that is naturally in plants. And Mother Garden Club tagged onto that with make a tea and you have your salicylic acid. So, ways to make that there. But
I think one of the other biggest things for your garden survival, long-term and short-term, is the seeds, right? Planting stuff that will give you seeds back. Like some, I don't know, but pepper plants, some won't give seeds and some will. You want the ones with the seeds, right? Same thing with tomato plants and learning how to make your potatoes regrow, your onions, your garlic, everything, right? And learning how to, some vegetables, it takes 2 years, like say carrots, right? To get the seeds, it takes the second year. So you got to leave them in the ground and let them go to seed to get your seeds, right?
Yeah.
You have to leave a row to get your seed, whatever you're growing, like with carrots. Same with radishes and other plants too.
Yeah, some onions will give you seeds in 1 year. Other types of onions will take 2 years to give you seeds.
Yeah. Yeah.
The one thing to realize on this, people, is that you're going to need to do guerrilla gardening in your own yard and start it now.
Yep.
You get somebody new move into the neighborhood. What you want you go over as a good neighbor. Hey, how you know? And especially if it's a newly, like, okay, across the street here, they're putting in, all right, 7 houses directly across the street, goes up and around. And then farther up the street here, they put in a 10-acre subdivision up there. And 20 some odd houses up there, 30 some odd houses. When people move in, go up and welcome them to the neighborhood. Say, oh, you know what? You know how expensive, you be buying a house is expensive. You know how expensive the food is. You may want to think when you do your landscaping, put some fruit trees in. Get the neighbors to plant fruit trees.
Encourage them, yes.
Yes.
That's what we did at my place.
Throw in there that, when you're going shopping, pick up an extra can or an extra case of canned salmon or canned beans. Encourage them. And some will do it 50-50.
Yeah.
They'll think a little bit.
And if you can, and you got, apricots, peaches, pears, cherries, whatever growing in your yard, and you can propagate off of one of the branches to slice a carrot, put it on there, wrap it up, and pack soil around it, get it to grow, to start rooting that tree. Then you can cut it. You're going to get so big, cut it off, put it in a pot. When in the next year, when people start moving away, welcome to the neighborhood. Here's your here's a apple tree. Here's a pear tree. Here's an apricot tree. You give them a tree, they're going to go, and then give them a piece of paper, a printout about that tree, about how long it takes to grow, and this, how to and pruning stuff, give them all that information at the same time. That way they will be more likely to take care of it and be looking to get stuff. And then if you follow up when you get some of your fruit come in, of course, the first couple of years, theirs is not going to fruit, but you take the fruit up to them. Hey, I see you got the tree. Well, here's what it's going to look like here in a couple of years.
Cool.
And that gives them more encouragement on that as well.
Funny. Yeah, that's what I did. I had cut down all the old growth and problematic trees. And I planted 3 cherry trees. I got 3 peach trees, 2 apples, and 2 pears. And I expanded on my elderberry things.
Yeah.
Find what's growing in your local area already. Replicate that instead of trying to grow something from California or wherever else in your location. Go cruise around and say hello to all the old people in the gardens and find out why they're there and what's growing there. So that's what you replicate to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I found out I found out about an apple tree yesterday that I didn't know about. It's called Yellow Transparent. Tammy Rebel Canners told me about it, and it's zone 4, so it's good for my zone. And she says that's an early harvest one. So you have one of those, and you have later harvest ones. That gives you staggered harvests on your apples.
Yeah, the elderberries, right? I had an elderberry tree in my yard, and I took cuttings from it and planted a whole bunch of them, and they took. And so needless to say, I got maybe 5 times the amount of elderberries now.
What's up to 5 kilometers from your domicile is what you in a day you can go back and forth and harvest and forage and hunt or whatever. That's about as far as you want to go and still be in that safe zone. 5 kilometers. If you go on 50 kilometers for something, by the time you get back with it, it's rotten or flies got it or whatever you're hunting or whatever. Yeah. But if it's 5 kilometers from your cave or your underground bunker or wherever you are, your house still, whatever it is, you're sheltered in place. So that's the best. But food that's underneath the ground, like potatoes, sunchokes, dongjing, oka, all these can be just left in the ground in the Pacific Northwest. Okay, so then fruit trees that are already growing around here, like the Italian plum, and they pretty much grow wild here, and figs and stuff like that, and goji, that can be stored when harvested in canned goods. You can restock your pantry if you have in the tree vines like grapes, kiwi, passion fruit, that kind of thing through the forest. And but when you got canes, bushes, shrubs, plants on the ground, it'll all go together if you'll figure out your way. Everybody's going to be different. Every bit of soil is going to be different. Every little climate's different, and every person's different. So the gardening will be different. It's not one size fits all. It's a concept of what's happening in nature in your locale and replicating that. That's what grows well there. That's your best bet. And seed storage, like you can't store enough radish seeds and cool weather crops, because we're in the northern hemisphere here. You want cool weather crops. That's going to be your winter stuff that you'll eat. Like kiwi is harvested in October, November, and December here. That's like a winter fruit. So you'd really want a few kiwi and let them run wild in the trees. Then it looks part of the forest, and people aren't looking for it there.
I'm trying to get this open up with all the ads popping up on it. So one of the things also to consider, let me pop this up here. Where are we going? There it is. Come on. There it goes. This is New Farmer's Almanac. companion planting guide and chart and stuff. Now, I did find, get rid of that. I did find I saw a couple videos. People also warned about plants not to plant next to each other because they impact each other in negative ways.
Yeah.
And so that, I haven't gone looking for the bad neighbor plant one yet. But so that's the thing is, if you may have to, planting things in certain areas. If A plant can grow next to B and B can grow next to C and C can grow next to D, but D cannot grow next to A, you need to know that. So you can plant them in an area so you get the most return on your efforts.
Most hot weather crops will all grow beside each other, and most cool weather crops will all grow beside each other. Yeah. Just disturbing the soil with owning a few chickens and then some goats, chewing back the brambles. You can kind of make a bit of a soil and disturb it and just direct sow it. Like when a wild pig goes and eats pumpkin and goes and takes a dump, I mean, pumpkin grow there. It's a big nutrient package, right?
Yeah.
Animals move seeds around. Humans moved hemp around. And when they went to the bathroom, that's where the hemp would grow, where the guy went and took his dump, because hemp was used for food and fodder and so many textiles. And it's unbelievable what hemp was used for. It really changed the world, like from sails to ropes, as food. It's an easy one. Like you wouldn't give it a bat an eye, but you got to feel the hemp seed. That can feed a lot of people. You got 8 amino acids in those seeds. Hey, you feed a lot of people. So you're looking at a food source after SHTF. You got to look with imagination too. Like if it's nothing on the shelf, you're going to have to make your own shelf and fill it up. Like so, have a canner and some canning jars. That's priority. That's a priority to have, and foraging skills, knowing where your plants are in your 5-kilometer radius from your domicile, that where every tree is, every pear tree, and add other ones, like you can add other ones to common ground and just walk by every day and give, you got a water bottle, nobody even pays you any mind. That's what I've been doing lately. I've been planting my street. It's fun. People now get involved. It's like, okay, that's all it took.
Okay. We're at the top of the hour here. I'm going to need to wrap this up because as soon as I got to pack up my computer, I got to pack up all my stuff because I'm leaving at 3:00 in the morning, heading back to Idaho.
Safe trip, buddy.
Thank you. So coming up here later this week on Thursday is the Midnight Ride with GrayManPrepping.
Later, Howie.
Friday on Camp Patton Family Compound we're talking about what to do when you have a year without a summer. A little tie-in into this one tonight. On Survival Saturday back here on GrayManPrepping is what's with the vegetables in the stores. We're going to talk about some of the things that are happening that should encourage you to start growing your own food. Monday.
It's going to be a nasty conversation there.
Yeah, it is. And it's going to have some nasty pictures too. Watermelons oozing stuff out. Yeah. Anyways, Monday on Camp Patton Family Compound, Tammy recommended this one. Elderberries and health benefits. And we'll be talking about those. Oh, potatoes.
That thing's as big as your head, Lewis.
That's why I grow my own potatoes.
Yeah. And let's see. Next Tuesday is what is your worst scenario fear? And so we're going to be doing we're going to be doing a lot of open chat, talking about everyone can talk about what is on their number one list of things to get prepared for. All right. Side chat here. I mean, side thing here. A couple days ago, my wife was out in the garden. She harvested a bunch of her purple tomatoes, purple out skins, white inside tomatoes. We had those for dinner the other night, and a little more the day later. A couple days ago, yes, 2 days ago. No, yesterday. It was yesterday morning. We harvested a bunch of sunflowers here, and I have them sitting out there right now, drying out and stuff. And so far, the birds have left them alone. And it's got 2 different varieties, and I'm taking those back to Idaho and to mix with all the other sunflowers I'm growing there. So, and sunflowers are great too because they help remove the heavy metals from the soil. So, everyone in side chat. All right, Glenn came in, been here a few minutes here. Suladean's been here. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for all your comments. Lewis, Mark, Howie, thank you guys for coming up here and helping share. Biggest point to consider here, everybody. Figure out if a SHTF or Tawaki situations happens, are you going to be able to get water for your garden? Are you able to keep your garden functioning? What do you need to keep it functioning? Like we started talking out with there, crop covers for extending the growing season, protecting it from predators, 4-legged and 2-legged, and aerial predators as well. All right. So, as always, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps: water, food, medicine, clothing. Learn 2 new skills a month. Don't try to do 2 big heavy ones, but you can do 1 heavy one and 1 light one. But try learning 2 new skills a month, and work on growing an indoor garden this winter. All right. All right, everyone. Take care and stay safe.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.